Hello everyone, I'm Alekia and today I will be talking about how United Airlines took a flexible stance to cope up with pandemic. United Airlines was the creation of aviation pioneer William Boeing, who started out in the airplane business in 1961. It achieved its first international postal delivery in 1919 and went on to establish itself as United Aircraft Corporation in 1928. The headquarters for the air carrier's parent company, United Continental Holdings, are in Chicago. As one of the earliest airlines developed in the United States, United Airlines has a long and colorful history. It has worked to raise the standard of air travel around the world and help modernize the way airplanes operate today. Under the United Aircraft Corporation, the airlines began to expand its business operations through a series of mergers and acquisitions across the United States. How did the company perform before pandemic? In 2019, annual revenue was $43.259 billion, a 4.74% increase from 2018. United made history with the departure of Flight for Planet, the most eco-friendly commercial flight of its kind in history of aviation, becoming the first known airlines to demonstrate all key actions on single commercial flight, that is, utilization of sustainable aviation biofuel, zero cabin waste efforts, carbon offsetting, and operational efficiencies. Started 34 new domestic and international routes. In 2019, it was a great year for United team, highlighted by achieving $11 to $13 adjusted EPS target a full year ahead of schedule. It had 4 quarter streak of expanding profit margins. So what happened? Economy is uncertain and future doesn't always cooperate. The pandemic has been a whiplash for many businesses, but for airlines, it has been a particularly disorienting. Travel demand has decreased as the pandemic increased, and airlines found themselves experimenting with whatever they can. Some organizations have even tried to push into the new markets. What did they do? United Airlines slashed a number of flights, assembled a war chest of cash, and was ready to lay off thousands of its employees. These put the company in a sustainable position. Throughout the pandemic, United Airlines stuck with its long term strategy of growing business travel revenue, selling seats, upgrades in coach, and first class tickets. United Airlines stopped predicting demand. It did not go with the budget. It slashed more flights than its competitors, and it cut a deal to keep its pilots' workforce intact and worked through a number of other defensive moves. Initially, it all affected the business when compared to its rivals. United Airlines was at a disadvantage. This was all part of a bigger picture. United Airlines was going for an aggressive rebound. Alice Insider mentioned in an article that flexible stance describes an organization ready to expand or contract quickly or pivot in a different direction. Flexible stance is built on the humility about our ability to build future. United Airlines took a flexible stance at times of uncertainty, economic change, and utter chaos through the pandemic. CEO Scott Kirby decided that the airlines couldn't foresee when travel would rebound, instead, forming a bounce back team to map out slow, medium, and fast rebound scenarios. The company organized a bounce back team to prepare for recovery. With the bounce back team, attention was turned to rebuilding the organization. The focus turned from predicting when demand would return to putting pieces in place so United could be prepared whenever it did, thinking through pitfalls that could lead to its eventual recovery. The team appealed to start hiring even at the depth of COVID 19. It set up an infrastructure for training. It created dashboards to monitor suppliers' financial health, to make sure that the suppliers keep up with the United no matter how quickly the traffic returned. The airlines decided not to retire wide body jets that fly internationally as rivals had done. It struck a deal to buy 270 planes. It is getting back to its strategy of boosting traffic that feeds the major hubs. What's it doing right now? After COVID 19 hit the world, the demand for air travel evaporated overnight. It took nearly an year for passengers' volume to return to half of their former heights. To plug in the revenue gaps, airlines leaned on cargo deliveries. They found ravenous demand for air freight services. It's hiring 48 to 50 pilots a week in preparation of summer 2022 and 2023. It made a deliberate choice to be more cautious about adding flying back, to avoid operational stumble and overshooting, even if it means missing out on some demand. In 2020, the airlines announced a loss of $1.8 billion during its third quarter. In April 2022, it reported that it lost $1.38 billion in the first quarter. It expects to return to profitability in the current 3-month period as post pandemic travel ramps back up. Also, United Airlines shares jumped 8%. The number of miles flown by paying passengers fell from 27% from a year earlier. It is flying roughly 73% of its available seats full as opposed to 81% pre pandemic. But it is much better than 2021. We can conclude by saying that, despite the challenges of the modern aviation world and the current situation across the globe, United Airlines remains one of the most busiest and most successful carrier in the world. The biggest winner in the airline industry pivot to cargo was United. The airline's cargo doubled over pre-pandemic levels. With everything happening, United Airlines is still in a position to continue to thrive. Recommendations: the airline should follow the flexible stance until it fully recovers. They should promote leisure trips as business travel will take a longer time to recover. It should narrow down the gap between non-stop pricing and connect pricing to boost travel. The airlines should continue with the cargo business as much as it was during the pandemic. Airlines will have to work closely with the authorities as the government becomes a more active player, whether as a creditor, a direct shareholder, or a member of board of directors. Instead of viewing this as a necessary stumbling block to obtaining much needed capital, airlines could view it as an opportunity to influence how the industry evolves with a critical partner. Digital and IT investments should be made a top priority. The airlines should order new aircrafts and confirm operating leases when demand is low. Making deals when demand is low would allow the carrier to enjoy cost advantages for years to come. Thank you.